Today's topic is an interesting one, because yesterday Mortal Kombat 1 just dropped the Lin Kuei trailer. Well, actually I suppose it's 2 days ago because of how I upload videos. But you get the idea, tons of new characters. I'm talking Cyrax, Sector, Smoke, and Rain, so many awesome reveals. Not to mention the new stages and cameo fighters, it was all very, very interesting. Melina's mouth, that's an interesting thing worth talking about. But not today, because there's something far more interesting that must be talked about right now. It is by far the most interesting thing that happened in the trailer, and it's this mysterious voice.
The Lin Kuei, we have been expecting you.
I want everybody watching right now to comment below who you think is speaking during this scene, because of course they don't let us see, but it's very likely this individual is in control of Onaga's undead army. That's right, Onaga has not been revealed yet, but we do have his army. These undead soldiers are absolutely the undead army first introduced in Deadly Alliance. And even though Scorpion makes a few of them extra crispy, if you freeze frame right here, yeah, there's a lot of them. And keep in mind, this army never stays dead. It's in their name, the Immortal Army, which means theoretically they just keep on coming. And as a result, anyone who's in charge of this army becomes a top tier Avengers level threat. So who is this mysterious villain? Who is speaking off screen during this trailer? Let's put our heads together and figure it out. The first likely candidate is Shao Khan, because let's be real, this guy kinda sounds like Shao Khan, especially the way he holds on to that last word and just drags it out.
We have been expecting you.
It kinda sounds like Shao Kahn, let's be honest. A different voice actor from MK11 to be sure, but the reality is this could be Shao Kahn. In fact, there's one more piece of evidence, and it's a soldier that Sub-Zero kills right before this voice shows up. If you look closely at his armor, it looks similar to Shao Kahn. At first I thought this was Reiko's armor because the colors and design are a bit more similar, but at the same time it could easily be Shao Kahn's armor, and even though I haven't looked at any leaks, I've abstained from them, I have heard people constantly talking about General Shao Kahn. It's all over social media, it's in YouTube video titles, and even in my comment section, so apparently General Shao Kahn could be a thing, which means he commands an army, and yeah, they would wear his armor. So that's two reasons why this voice off screen could easily be Shao Kahn. He has the same mannerisms and how Shao Kahn speaks, and the soldier killed earlier has the same armor that Shao Kahn typically wears, and since he's rumored to be a general, it makes sense why he would have boots on the ground commanding the troops, and yeah, they would dress like him. But now it's time for candidate number 2, okay? Because even though I love Shao Kahn, let's be real, it would be a bit lame if Shao Kahn was the big bad villain once again. So what if the undead army is once again under the control of its intended master, Onaga? That's right, what if the big bad villain from almost 20 years ago finally returned? I've said it before and I'll say it again, Onaga is by far the most fan-anticipated villain in the series. Everybody wants him to come back, and I think he's overdue. And like I mentioned earlier, that's not Shao Kahn's voice actor from Mortal Kombat 11, which means it could be a new character we haven't seen in the NetherRealm games, aka Onaga. Even though it's not quite as grandiose and echoey as it was in Deception, Onaga never really had that ridiculous of a voice, it just kinda echoed.
I stand with no one. I will claim the prize and with it, destroy you all.
Or in other words, this voice could be Onaga's, just without the crazy echo effect, which I think NetherRealm's trying to move away from that because it sounds kind of ridiculous and fantasy-ish, and this game is trying to be a bit more grounded. And finally, there's one more piece of evidence that I want to talk about. It has me very excited. At one point during the trailer, Sub-Zero is shooting an ice beam for a pretty good amount of time, and just before the camera turns to show his opponent, it cuts away. And the reason I find that so exciting is because there's a particular villain from past Mortal Kombat games who was walking through a bunch of beam attacks. That's right, Onaga. And keep in mind, Sub-Zero is allied with Scorpion and Smoke during this mission, which means they could be recreating the scene from Deception, but this time, instead of Shang Tsung, Quan Chi, and Raiden, it's Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and Smoke all shooting beams and attacks at Onaga, trying to keep him at bay, but he just walks through all of it. It's a bit of a long shot, I know, but keep in mind, in Mortal Kombat 11, they already recreated this scene, so I would not be that surprised if they did it again, but this time with the actual man himself, Onaga, just walking forward and tanking all the attacks. Even though it's a bit of a long shot for Onaga to be in this game, I think there's a lot of evidence that points to it. It's his undead army, it's his temple, and it could be his voice as well. Because honestly, now that I think about it, if it was Shao Kahn's voice, why would they not show us? You know, Shao Kahn's not that big of a reveal, he was already in the previous game, which is why I think it's more likely to be a brand new character that NetherRealm's never never had in their games before. So next up, let's talk about Havik. Everyone loves Havik. He was in the Mortal Kombat X comics, he was name dropped in Mortal Kombat 11 multiple times, and in fact he even shows up in plenty of the endings. So yeah, I think NetherRealm wants to do something with Havik. And for anyone not aware, Havik in the comics was a very big schemer. The man always had a grand plan, so I would not be shocked if he was capable of getting control of Onaga's undead army. Not to mention, I'm 90% sure that Havik's going to be in this game. If I was a gambling man, I would putting money down because that's how certain I am. However, that being said, the voice is the main issue here. It doesn't sound like Havik. Believe it or not, in the past games, he spoke in a whisper.
As if I would honor a deal? You should know better than to bind a man of chaos to his word.
Which is honestly really fitting because he's from the Chaos realm, which means you never expect what they're doing, and since he looks so creepy and grandiose, you would think he had this big, deep voice. But no, it's the opposite. In fact, he speaks like this, in a whisper, and it's very interesting. I loved it. As a fan of the old games and the new ones, I loved Havik's whisper, so I kinda hope they bring it back. So yeah, in conclusion, I do think Havik's going to be in the game, and maybe he's in control of the undead army, but I don't think he's the one speaking off screen during this scene. There's actually one more character who I think is fairly likely to be in control of the undead army, or at the very least the voice speaking off screen, and it's Reiko. It has been way too long since this character was in a Mortal Kombat game, and if Shao Khan is the general, that could imply that Reiko is actually in a position above him, which would be super interesting and a great role reversal. Very similar to how Liu Kang is the god now and Raiden is a regular Shaolin monk. It's an awesome way of flipping the script, and I think the same could be done to the villains. And like I've said in past videos, Goro's armor does look very similar to Reiko's, and it has me suspicious. What if that soldier killed by Sub-Zero in the trailer actually works for Reiko? What if Shao Kahn works for Reiko? That could mean he's still the voice, but Reiko is in control of the undead army because he's above him. Or hey, maybe Reiko sent Shao Kahn to investigate, but then upon discovering the undead army, Shao Kahn's like, yo, I'm going to use this army to overthrow Havik. Because let's be real, if history's proven anything to us, it's that Shao Kahn is never okay with being subservient to anyone. If you're above him, he's going to poison you, assassinate you, something. And as a result, even if Reiko is the leader in Mortal Kombat 1, if I was him, I'd watch my back, because Shao Kahn as your soldier is never a good idea. Now with that all being said, I do kind of hope that Reiko is the one speaking off screen because I want him to play a really big role in the story, but that's just my personal bias. Because the reality is, the more I think about it, I already know who the voice is in the trailer. I already know who the big bad villain is of Mortal Kombat 1, the guy that nobody would see coming, not even Liu Kang. The simple truth is, the greatest threat to Earthrealm in Mortal Kombat 1 is mocap. Yup, Liu Kang could never prepare for mocap. How could he? He's an otherworldly being, much like Cthulhu and the eldritch horrors of space. Mocap transcends reality and time itself. He is an immortal being who can go anywhere whenever he wants to. So once again, the voice we hear off screen is very likely Mocap, the man who killed Shujinko in Mortal Kombat Armageddon. You may think I'm crazy, but that's what mocap wants you to think, okay? Shang Tsung is just a red herring. It's mocap. He's the big villain. He's the real pre-order bonus. Nah, I'm just kidding. Obviously, it's not going to be mocap, and I don't think mocap is going to return except as a cameo, because let's be real, he'd be a really awesome cameo, just like Meat. But now finally, it's time for the least interesting possibility, which is that the undead army isn't being controlled by anybody and simply attacks anyone who comes inside the temple, kind of like a security system. Only instead of alarms and security, it uses undead magic to attack anybody who enters. That would be the lamest possibility, but it's also somewhat likely. It could be that the undead army is just a random enemy that shows up during the story mode in one of the early chapters, they're defeated, and then never spoken of ever again. They're just an Easter egg. That's a real possibility. I don't want it to happen because it would be super hard to write that scene well without disappointing fans. It could be done, but would just be difficult. So I really do hope the undead army is a pivotal point in the story and not just some random enemies that show up to get killed by the hero so they can flex on all of us. But even so, I had to throw the possibility out there because it's a speculation video and the goal is to not be wrong. So I'm throwing all my ideas out there and hoping one of them is correct. But now's the part where I make this video interactive. Who do you think that mysterious voice is? And keep in mind, this is the biggest mystery in Mortal Kombat 1 so far. So if you crack the code, you're one smart cookie. Make your voice heard in the comments down below. What is that mysterious voice? And keep in mind that according to the official Mortal Mortal Kombat 1 website. This unknown threat is something that even Fire God Liu Kang did not see coming. Alright everyone, that's about it for the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like down below. It really does help my channel out a ton. And then keep that combo going by subscribing and ringing that bell, that way you never miss a future video. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.